Good morning. I'm April Chadwick,
And I'm Diane Gertis.
and we are with the Mortgage Advantage TMA Corner. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Summer's starting to kick up and fun. I have a
Yeah.
road trip planned. So
Well, I'm
I,
glad you've got the road trip planned so you'll be away from all the craziness and the housing market here in Phoenix, where there are a few houses for sale, and then we've got the gloom and doom about the interest rates maybe going back up if we can't come to if our great leaders can't come to an agreement. But interest rates have already started to climb before all of this came up, which, as you know, the interest rates are already higher than any of us would like them to be. But what I'd like to go over today is how to plan to buy a house. So at some point, I would hope that people are going to want to buy houses, and you need to plan for it. With the interest rates being higher, do you know what there are several things that do affect when you buy a house, your ability to afford a payment. The one I'm going to go over today, do you want to guess, April?
well, there's only a few, so I'm going to go over income, down payment.
Wrong. Uh, no, we're going to go over credit. Oh, there you go.
That's the best one besides down payment that you can prepare for in advance.
Yeah, prepare in advance. You need to prepare your credit.
Ooh,
I have had clients call me and say, I'm sorry, I've got terrible credit. Back in 2005, I missed a payment on my credit card, and they've got absolutely sterling credit. I've had other people say, I've got great credit, I've got perfect credit, and they don't. I once had a doctor call me wanting to buy a house, and I said, what kind of credit do you have? Because, oh yeah, my credit is fine. Well, the reason why his credit to him was fine is that he had never paid anyone in his entire life.
Well, maybe.
I mean, in his entire life, I had never seen such, and he just says, well, I pay them. And that is another, I'm kind of bouncing around, but pay your debts on time. And let me make one point up front. Let's say you have a car payment and you decide to pay 3 months in advance. That's great. All that's going to do is pay down your equity. Just like if you have a house and you pay 3 months in advance, you may pay, this is May, let's say June, you decide to pay through September. Not going to work. Your July payment's going to be due, and you will be counted past due. People have done that with cars, not realizing that paying in advance does not really always work. And I won't. So just wait. I just had a client do that and on his car, and that trashes your credit.
And for I'm sure your doctor, maybe he just assumed your credit score is supposed to be like your golf score.
That's correct. That's right.
But it's not. So
not a golf score. Not at all. So there are several things that will affect your credit. Credit cards. I've had people who have, honest to goodness, 18 credit cards, never missed a payment. Pretty sure your credit's going to be trashed. They don't like the credit analytics, sorry about that. They do not like to see a lot of open credit. No, but do not close credit cards. It's good to leave it open. But I meant if you have 18 credit cards and have 18 lines of credit, active lines of credit that you're charging on, credit card companies do not like to see that. But more importantly than that, let's say you have 18 lines of credit and you're not using them, keep them open. Don't close them. Closing an account will count negatively on your credit. The other is if you may have 2 credit cards and you've made every payment on time. Let's say you're allowed to go up to $1,000, but it's Christmas and you go to $1,200. If I was to run your credit in January, your scores are going to be trashed because the credit bureaus read that if you're over your credit limit, it's like being late. Now, it's fluid because once you pay it down, your score will go up. The other is on credit cards, keep those balances as low as you're comfortable with. In other words, if you're allowed to go up to 1,000, keep it at 500 or below. Just do that. And if not, then your credit scores are going to be trashed. Some credit is very easy to take care of. One high income buyer had his commission checks were held for 6 months. So he just paid his minimum on his credit cards, and he was frantic because he wanted to buy a house. So, but it was an easy fix. Once he got his bonus income or commission payment, he paid down his credit cards and his scores popped back up. Being late, let's say you have a collection. Now, allegedly, medical collections up to $500 will no longer be reported to the bureaus. I've not seen that yet. So just saying allegedly.
Allegedly.
It's good practice. Well, let's talk about medical collections. One, I would say 80% of your medical collections, if you have a couple of $100 or 500 or 600 and you pay them, and even sometimes if you offer to settle for less, they will remove them from the bureaus. And I would recommend on smaller medical collections, and especially if they're old, just leave them. Don't pay them.
Oh, yeah.
But if you have an AT&T, I'm sorry, let's say you have a phone bill or you have a utility bill or something else that you haven't paid, you probably need to work at getting that paid.
Collections.
Yes, collections. I'm sorry, collections. The other is if you have a student loan that's in default. Student loans in default, like you need to call them, easy fix, call them up and get on a repayment program. You're not going to be able to get a loan if you're in default on student loans. The other is if you decided, you know what, I never really liked my kid anyway, so I'm just not going to pay child support. No, you will not be able to get a loan. You need to get on a repayment program or start paying your child support. Those student loans and child support are two big no's. If you have an IRS lien, not going to be able to get a house, but call the IRS, get on a repayment plan, get that worked out. And after you've made, I believe with the IRS, once you've made 12 months of payments, they'll remove the lien.
Oh,
so
okay.
But I don't know.
That's
Wait a minute. If you owe $20 trillion on your house, that may be different than, owing 10,000. But your credit is the first and foremost thing that you need to be it needs to be shining so that you would be able to get the best rate out there. But let's say you had a bankruptcy. There's a bankruptcy in your past that was beyond medical bankruptcy, or you went through a really nasty divorce and your ex is just, we won't even go in how bad your ex is. They're horrible. So all of these things, and you're trying to recover. Great. Then start the recovery process. At that point, I'm not saying it needs to be perfect. Your credit has to be perfect. It just needs to be better than what you've got now, because the better you can get your credit. And how do you do that? If you went through a bankruptcy and don't have any credit, get yourself a credit card immediately. You can get what they call a secured credit card. You may have to put $300 in an account and not touch it, and then charge a tank of gas, pay it off every month, never be late. Optimum is to get 2 credit cards. But if you had a bankruptcy or an event on your credit, such as a foreclosure or short sale, and you get a credit card and then you're late, your credit is going to be so trashed. Yeah. So you really need to be focused. Everything's on auto payment now. Get your credit cards on auto payment, and then you can always make more towards it if you need to.
Oh, everybody's got apps.
Yeah,
I have apps. So you can sit there and pay. You can check your credit card balance, pay, do whatever you need immediately.
But in order, especially when you're on conventional loans, Fannie and Freddie conventional, the interest rate and the mortgage insurance, if you're putting less than 20% down, is very sensitive to credit scores. FHA and USDA and VA are not as sensitive. So you can still get a good rate even if your credit scores are lower. But that is the first thing you should look at is your credit. Get it shiny. Feel free to call me. My phone number is 480-235-5667. I can do what they call a soft pull where it doesn't show up anywhere. In other words, it's not going to affect your credit. The credit report can't be used for anything, but it's just there for our knowledge, and I can guide you. I even have a little app on it that says, okay, if I pay this down to $500, that'll pop your score up to this. We've had a lot of luck with our clients who've had to what we call rescore in order to get a home or to get a better rate.
Well, absolutely. And I think that that's a great thing. You know, another tool that the Mortgage Advantage offers. And for anyone out there, those that know me, I kind of went through something at one point and I had to stay on top of it. And obviously we were in it together, but it was like one of those, all right, do this, this, and this. And you know, you have time. If right now, if everything on the market's kind of slowing down, might as well work on your credit. I do have one question though, and there's one more thing. We got everything except judgments. So if you have a judgment on your credit, it needs to.
The judgment has to be pretty severe for it to go on your credit. So if you have a judgment, obviously you should pay attention to it. Some judgments, depending on what they are, the reason why you may not be able to get a loan if you have a judgment, it could attach to your new home.
Oh,
yeah. So it depends on what that judgment looks like.
Well, and I think it's wise for everybody. And sometimes it's very scary, the whole credit score thing, but everyone should know their credit. Everybody should have their credit report and know every single thing that's on there.
That is an excellent point. You should have your credit run, if not twice a year, at least once a year. Go to all three of the bureaus, which are Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And they should give you one free credit report a year. Now, don't call me up and go, I went to freecreditreport.com and my score is, for a lot of the consumer credit reports that are for credit cards and cars. So a lot of individuals have been really upset. Oh, I went and got a car and my score was 680. And then I do a credit report and it's 630. Because the mortgage, again, goes back to the analytics for mortgage credit reports is different from a consumer credit report.
That is correct. And also, but like Diane mentioned before, please, and if this is something that you're like, wow, I really want to get ahead of this or have more questions, Diane gave her number before, call her. Have her, like she says, she can do a soft pull and she will go over it with you gladly.
And in this high interest rate environment that we are currently now experiencing, even your credit cards, car loans, anything that you are even a private loan, the interest rates are all of those are going to be determined by your credit score. So I know it's hard being an adult. So
I know adulting is not fun.
I hate it. But this is one of the things that you need to prepare your future for. And part of it may not be an immediate savings in your pocket, but it is going to save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars over the course of your life.
Yep. And you should anyway, something to be proud of. Like once you get it all healed, and then it becomes a little bit of addictive. Yeah. So that was great. Thank you for all that information. And yeah, with everything going on, let's get on it. Everybody just more than welcome to call Diane. You can call me. My number is 602-740-5319. And that's our job, is to get you into the house of your dreams, right?
That's correct. And my number again is 480-235-5667. And I did have on my that I'm available evenings and weekends. And someone said, oh, you only work evenings and weekends? No. I'm just saying that you can call me anytime.
That's an interesting twist.
I know.
Anyway. Great. All right. Everybody have a great day and we will talk with you soon. And
talk to you soon.
If you need anything from us or you have any suggestions.
Have a great week.
You too.